Ukraine has endured another night of fire. Dozens of Russian strike drones, along with ballistic and cruise missiles, pounded cities across the country, targeting critical energy infrastructure and leaving at least one person dead. Explosions were reported in Kyiv, in the Black Sea port of Odesa, and across central regions as air raid sirens sounded through the darkness. The energy grid was once again in the crosshairs, and as diplomacy falters, the war intensifies. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, Russia launched 50 missiles and 297 drones in the latest overnight assault. Air defense systems shot down or neutralized 33 missiles and 274 drones, officials said, but several strikes penetrated defenses and hit their intended targets.
President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated that the attacks extended beyond Kyiv and Odesa to the regions of Dnipro, Kirovograd, Mykolaiv, Poltava and Sumy. The primary objective, he said, was the energy sector. However, residential buildings and railway infrastructure were also damaged. In the Kyiv region, Governor Mykola Kalashnik confirmed that at least one person was killed and 5 others were wounded. More than a dozen homes were damaged across 5 districts.
In Odessa, Governor Oleg Kipper reported that a nighttime drone strike ignited fires at energy facilities, though emergency crews later extinguished the flames. President Zelenskyy accused Moscow of prioritizing military escalation over diplomatic engagement. Moscow continues to invest in strikes more than in diplomacy, he wrote, noting that in just 1 week, Russia launched more than 1,300 drones, over 1,400 guided aerial bombs and 96 missiles at Ukraine. Zelenskyy also calls blast in Ukraine's western city of Lviv a cynical and brutal attack by Russia.
Today there were several and other law enforcement officers regarding the investigation of the terrorist attack in Lviv. It's difficult to give it any other classification. This was indeed a terrorist attack, cynical and brutal. 2 explosions, the second occurring just as emergency services arrived on the scene. 25 people have been injured. Unfortunately, 1 person, a female police officer, has died. The circumstances of this terrorist attack are currently being fully analyzed. Many facts are already available. The perpetrators were recruited through the Telegram platform. The organization behind this terrorist attack is Russian. The Ministry of Internal Affairs, the National Police of Ukraine, and the Security Service of Ukraine will present the full details to the public. Today, I have given instructions to develop and implement such measures and a response that would make similar crimes absolutely impossible. Our law enforcement officers already possess significant experience in counteracting these. Dozens of analogous situations have been successfully averted. Ukrainian law enforcement officers are consistently working to counteract these types of recruitment activities, and there is a clear need for increased activity and much greater involvement from the communities themselves, the active participation of local leaders, governmental institutions, indeed everyone, to effectively reduce Russia's capabilities for orchestrating terrorist attacks and acts of sabotage deep within the Ukrainian rear. We have intelligence data that Russians are going to continue to do such things, these actual attacks on Ukrainians. We need more protection for our people.
There was no immediate response from Moscow. Russia has repeatedly denied deliberately targeting civilians, arguing instead that Ukraine's energy infrastructure constitutes a legitimate wartime objective because it supports military operations. Kyiv rejects that assertion, saying the sustained attacks are designed to harm civilians and undermine national resilience. The latest bombardment comes as the United States attempts to broker a peace agreement between the 2 sides. Talks held in Geneva on February 17th and 18th failed to deliver a breakthrough. Russia continues to demand that Ukraine withdraw from parts of the eastern Donbas region under Russian control, a proposal Kyiv has firmly rejected. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha described the strikes as terror that cannot be normalized and urged the international community to impose tougher sanctions against the Kremlin.
Russia unleashed dozens of strike drones and a barrage of ballistic and cruise missiles on Sunday, targeting the nation's fragile energy grid and cities already scarred by nearly 4 years of war. Kyiv and its surrounding region shook under the assault. Explosions echoed across Odesa on the Black Sea, while Dnipro, Kirovohrad, Mykolaiv, Poltava, and Sumy also came under fire. At least one person was killed in the Kyiv region. Homes were shattered, railway lines damaged, more than a dozen houses reduced to splintered ruins. Regional officials reported 5 wounded as flames lit up the night sky.
It was most certainly a rocket because there was a very distinctive whistling sound. We have heard rockets on many occasions, and it was truly that specific, characteristic whistle. And in literally 2 or at most 3 seconds, it immediately crashed. This is a private sector. There are high-rise buildings, and further on, the city. There's nothing like that there. No industrial zones whatsoever. If you were to make a point about that, then no. Here it's all residential. Only people live here. There are schools, kindergartens, and private homes. So it's definitely not connected to any military facilities or any kind of industry.
I felt the house shaking. The house was really shaking. It was clearly an impact, and the force was so strong. Everything shook. I jumped up, and my dog got scared too.
Ukraine's Air Force said 50 missiles and 297 drones were launched in the overnight barrage. Air defenses intercepted 33 missiles and neutralized 274 drones, but others broke through. Energy facilities burned. Residential districts were hit.
I couldn't run out through the window because the ceiling had fallen and I was barefoot. And the stairs to the first floor were all covered by the fallen ceiling, shattered. But anyway, I somehow managed to get out. And then I saw that the house was on fire. I was in such a shock, and even now it still feels to me like I'm dreaming. My husband is even having a complete meltdown. But I, on the other hand, am just completely numb. I can't process anything at all. Well, that's the situation, you see. Thank goodness the people right here in these houses, they all survived. A young girl, a teenager, was screaming so loudly, just running. It was right here when I stepped outside that I saw it. Look, just look at this genocide. Just look at what's going on here. There seems to be no end to this. It just keeps going. And where is the rest of the world looking? I understand Europe is helping us. We are truly grateful to them. But still some measures must be taken, such as to stop him. But these measures aren't being taken. Everything is superficial, just somehow. And they're even buying things from him. I don't know, I'm in shock. First and foremost, it's not just about this, but what's happening in the world. How does the world look at this? How people are degraded, children, homes destroyed, people left to freeze. I don't know.
During the night, there was a whistle. Then I was thrown onto my back. A concrete slab landed on me, and underneath that slab was my younger son. The entire house was already on fire. A woman was running down from the 2nd floor. My mom also runs out. We are naked, running out barefoot. I realized that I've been crushed. I tried to get out from under the slab, pushing off everything that had fallen on me. Then the neighbors quickly ran over. We lifted the heavy slab, pulled out the little one, and ran out naked into the street.
The target, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said, was clear: the energy sector, the lifeline of a nation enduring winter and war. Moscow continues to invest in strikes more than in diplomacy, he declared, noting that in just 1 week, Russia launched more than 1,300 drones, 1,400 guided bombs, and 96 missiles. Russia denies deliberately targeting civilians, claiming infrastructure strikes weaken Ukraine's war effort.
Kyiv insists the aim is to break the will of its people. Meanwhile, as smoke rose in the east and south, tragedy struck in the west. In Lviv, near midnight, homemade explosive devices detonated after police responded to a suspected shop break-in. One officer was killed, 24 others were wounded. Mayor Andriy Sadowy called it terrorism. Authorities say a suspect has been detained, but questions remain about motive and coordination. The violence comes as U.S.-led efforts to broker peace falter. Talks in Geneva earlier this month ended without breakthrough. Russia demands Ukraine withdraw from parts of the Donbas region it does not fully control, a concession Kyiv flatly rejects. And now, from St. Peter's Square, a voice of moral urgency. Pope Leo, addressing pilgrims after Sunday prayer, pleaded for an end to what he called an unbearable tragedy. "My heart goes out to the dramatic situation," he said. "So many victims, so much unspeakable suffering. Peace cannot be postponed."
4 years have already passed since the war against Ukraine began. My heart still aches for the dramatic situation that is plain for all to see. How many victims, how many precious lives and families have been utterly shattered? How much widespread destruction has occurred? And how much truly unspeakable suffering has been endured? Indeed, every war inflicts a deep and lasting wound upon the entire human family. It leaves behind a trail of death, widespread devastation, and a profound sorrow that scars generations. Peace cannot be postponed. It is an urgent and pressing need that must find its rightful place within our hearts and be translated into concrete, responsible decisions. It is for this reason that I forcefully renew my appeal. Let the weapons fall silent. Let the bombardment cease. Let an immediate ceasefire be reached without delay. And let dialogue be strengthened to open the path to peace. Amen.
Yet as appeals for diplomacy echo across continents, missiles continue to fall. Power grids remain under siege. Families flee burning homes, barefoot into the cold. 4 years since the invasion began, Ukraine's skies are still filled not with peace, but with fire.